Episode 2. The man in the tower. Top of form. The car moved through the city with quiet precision. Lena sat in the back seat, watching the rain streak across the tinted window beside her. The driver had not spoken since she entered the vehicle. He had only nodded once before pulling smoothly into traffic. The inside of the car smelled faintly of leather and something clean, expensive. Lena rested her hands in her lap and tried to calm the restless energy building inside her chest. The situation still felt unreal 3 hours ago. She had been a journalist with a steady job and a predictable routine. Now she was sitting in the back of a luxury car on her way to meet one of the most powerful men in the city. She wondered briefly if this was a terrible decision. Curiosity pushed the thought aside. The car slowed as it approached the financial district. Tall buildings stretched toward the dark sky, their windows glowing like grids of light in the rain. Then Lena saw it. Voss Tower. The building rose above the surrounding skyline like a dark blade of glass and steel. Even through the rain, it looked imposing. The surface of the tower reflected the city lights in long, sharp lines. The car turned smoothly into a circular driveway. At the front entrance, two security guards stood near the doors the moment the car stopped. One of them stepped forward and opened Lena's door. "Miss Moretti," he said politely. She stepped out and glanced up at the building again. The lobby doors slid open before she even reached them. Inside, the atmosphere was completely different from the wet chaos of the street. Everything was quiet. Polished marble floors stretched across the lobby, soft lighting illuminated tall pillars and carefully placed pieces of modern art. The air smelled faintly of fresh flowers and something cool and clean. A man in a perfectly tailored dark suit approached her. Lena recognized him immediately from the voice on the phone. Marcus Hale. He was tall, composed, and carried himself with the calm confidence of someone who managed powerful people every day. "Miss Moretti," he said. "Marcus." They shook hands briefly. His grip was firm but not aggressive. "I hope the rain did not cause too much inconvenience," Marcus said. "I have experienced worse nights," Lena replied. He nodded slightly and gestured toward a row of elevators. "Mr. Voss is expecting you." They walked across the lobby together. Lena noticed how quiet the building felt. Despite the size of the place, there were very few people around. "Does he usually meet potential employees this late?" she asked. Marcus pressed the elevator button. "Mr. Voss keeps unusual hours." "That sounds ominous." Marcus allowed a faint smile. "It is simply efficient." The elevator doors opened. They stepped inside. Marcus pressed a button near the top of the panel. The elevator began to move. Almost immediately. The speed surprised Lena. The city lights outside the glass panel behind them began to shrink as they rose higher and higher above the streets. Marcus stood calmly beside her, with his hands clasped behind his back. "Before we arrive," he said, "there are a few things you should know about working with Mr. Voss." Lena glanced at him. "That sounds serious." "It is simply preparation." She nodded. "All right." "Mr. Voss values honesty," Marcus continued. "That works out well for me. He also values discretion. That depends on what he expects me to keep quiet about." Marcus studied her briefly. "That will be discussed between you and him." The elevator slowed slightly. They were nearing the top. Marcus turned his attention back to her. "One more thing." "Yes?" "Mr. Voss enjoys challenging people?" Lena raised an eyebrow. "That sounds like a polite warning." "It is." The elevator doors opened. The space beyond was enormous, a private office floor. Floor-to-ceiling windows stretched across the far wall, revealing the entire city below. The rain had begun to slow, leaving the streets glistening with reflected lights. The office itself was minimalist but elegant. Dark wood surfaces, modern furniture, and a quiet sense of wealth that did not need to announce itself loudly. At the far end of the room, a man stood near the window. He had his back to them. Even from a distance, Lena could tell he was tall, broad shoulders beneath a fitted black suit. His posture was relaxed, but somehow precise, as if every movement was deliberate. That Marcus stopped walking. "Mr. Voss," he said calmly. The man turned. For a moment, Lena forgot to breathe. Adrian Voss was younger than she expected, early 30s. Easily dark hair slightly tousled, as if he had run a hand through it earlier. His face was sharp and composed, with strong lines along his jaw. But it was his eyes that caught her attention. They were focused, intense, in a way that made it feel as if he could see straight through a person. Those eyes settled on Lena immediately. Marcus spoke again. "Miss Lena Moretti." Adrian studied her silently for a moment. The room felt strangely still. Then he spoke. "You are younger than I expected." His voice was deep and steady, that Lena folded her arms loosely. "You're ruder than I expected." Marcus shifted slightly beside her, that Adrian looked at her for another moment. Then the corner of his mouth lifted a small smile. "Good," he said. "I just like timid writers." He gestured toward a seating area near the windows. "Please sit." Clear that his eyes followed her movement the entire time. She sat down slowly. Adrian joined her a moment later, lowering himself into the chair across from her. Up close, his presence felt even more controlled. Not intimidating exactly, but powerful, like a man who was completely certain of the space he occupied. For a moment, neither of them spoke. Then Adrian leaned back slightly in his chair. "You exposed Daniel Kessler," he said. "Yes. Most journalists would not have published that story. Most journalists would not have spent 3 months chasing financial records." Adrian watched her closely. "Your editor fired you?" "Yes. And yet you do not seem particularly upset about it." Lena shrugged slightly. "I prefer losing a job to losing my integrity." For the first time, Adrian looked genuinely interested. He leaned forward slightly. "That," he said quietly, "is exactly why I wanted to meet you." The rain continued to fall lightly against the glass behind him, and Lena had this strange feeling that the real interview had only just begun.